Okay, hello, this is the start of a Weekendween reading vlog. Weekendween, if you didn't know, is a 4 days long Halloween themed readathon hosted by Reid. I think there might be another host. I will link them all in the description. And this year's theme is Monster Mash, and I'm personally not that well read in horror, and reading horror and thriller books is very much out of my comfort zone. And reading horror that's more of a paranormal horror, I mean, a lot of horror is paranormal, but yeah, monsters, that's not really my thing. So I'm kind of ignoring the theme. It might be doing some of the challenges, actually. Let me look it up. Pretty sure my battery is dying, but okay, let's see what are the challenges. Oh, okay, let a coin toss decide your first read is one of the prompts. Second prompt is read a book with a monster in it or a monster on the cover. Fourth prompt is listen to a spooky audiobook or horror graphic novel / manga. And 4, read a book in the dark or at night. Okay, so first things first, I did a poll on my community tab asking which book you would like to see me reading for this vlog, and In My Dreams I Held the Knife by Ashley Winstead won. In second place there was Ring Shout, then They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and Whispered by Iain Reid. I kind of was hoping Iain Reid's new book would win Whispered, but I might read it anyway. All of the books that I put in this poll actually I don't have physically, so I'll be reading them on audiobook or on ebook through a script. By the way, it is Friday evening, October 28th. I'm starting the readathon kind of late, it's almost 8 p.m, but I finished work at 5 p.m. I was kind of hoping I might start reading during like work, I don't know, like on the lunch break, or if I'm not busy, but yeah, that didn't work. So after work I had to eat something, I bought some groceries, and yeah, now we're here. First prompt is let a coin toss decide your first read. So since we're reading a thriller, I want to choose a horror book, and out of the 2 that I put in the poll, I think I'm more interested in Whispered, because I actually read I'm Thinking of Ending Things like 2 years ago, and I really liked it, and it was one of the first books, horror books that I read, and I was like, oh my god, I can enjoy horror, so I'm really excited about that. So we're going to do a coin toss deciding whether I'm going to read In My Dreams I Hold the Knife first or Whispered. Let me find a coin. Okay, this took me much longer than it should because I have Polish money, and I was trying to figure out which side is heads, which side is tails, and I don't know. So what we're gonna do, here we have an eagle. So heads, from what I understand, is like the part where you have the person, like a head of a person. So that part is going to be the eagle. I think it's the eagle. Here you have an eagle, and that part is going to be In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and the part with the number, so you have number 5 here, that's going to be Whispered by Iain Reid. So let's see what I'm going to read first. Oh, that's the eagle. Eagle. So, I'm reading In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Let's do it! Okay, it is Saturday. I was gonna say morning, but it's noon. I ate breakfast with my cat, so I can go back to reading. Last night I got about 40% into the audiobook, and I'm enjoying it. It does remind me of both The Secret History and If We Were Villains. Probably If We Were Villains a bit more. Yeah, it doesn't have that like literary quality of The Secret History. It's a lot more fast-paced. And I'm enjoying it, actually, because I read so much literary fiction and classics. It's actually nice to have like this kind of change of pace and read something a bit easier, a bit more fast-paced, yeah. I don't think all of the characters are that well fleshed out, except for maybe with the main character. At first, when I read the first chapter, I thought I wasn't going to like this book because Jessica is so unlikable. But then I think the author did a very good job kind of explaining why she's like that. Kind of, we get little snippets of her childhood, her dynamic with her parents. So this like a little backstory, but it wasn't too long. But it did make me go, oh, okay, so that's why I like this. And I think she's a very, and I think she's a very well written and likable character. Because we understand where kind of she's coming from, and there are even times where I feel sympathetic towards her, but she's still unlikable and she still makes questionable choices. Okay, so to briefly tell you the synopsis of this book kind of goes back and forth between two timelines. The current timeline, when Jessica, the main character, is in her 30s, she gets a letter about a college reunion because it's been a decade since they graduated, I believe, from this very prestigious college. And yeah, it's her going back for this reunion, and we also get chapters from back in the day when she started college and her time there. And we do know that she was in this group of 7 friends, and during the senior year one of their friends was brutally murdered. And we also know from the current timeline that Jessica does not think that the person that was accused, although he was never convicted, the person that was accused of the murder, she doesn't think he did it. And when she arrives at the reunion, it kind of turns out that the victim's brother kind of arranged the whole thing to gather this whole friend group, even though they're not really in touch in the current timeline, but yet to find out who actually killed his sister. So yeah, this is like a thriller / mystery, dark academia kind of book. And yeah, I mean, 7 main characters, and there are some other like background characters too. That's a lot, so I feel like it's kind of hard to flesh out them all. And at first I found it really hard to keep track of who was who. Like there's the very brief scene when they all meet and I'm supposed to remember all 7 people. No. But yeah, I was struggling a little bit in the beginning, but yeah, I am quite hooked, and I do think I'm going to finish this book today. To be fair, I mostly am going to read during the weekend because on Monday I have work. On Tuesday I was going to take a day off because on Tuesday we have a national holiday, bank holiday, whatever you call it. So I could get like a 4-day weekend, but I did not do it. So I'm working on Monday and I don't really have plans for this weekend. I only have to do some chores, clean my room. There's a reason why you're not seeing the whole room right now. Yeah, just some cleaning. I'll update you probably when I finish In My Dreams I Held a Knife. Okay, quick update. While I'm putting some of my clothes in my closet, I wanted to update you on In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Most of what I'm going to say is going to be spoilers. I will put a warning on the screen, so beware. But basically, so far, like there is a pattern in the story, so each person gets their kind of highlight, focus in like 2 or 3 chapters, and that's when like secrets get revealed, confessions come out, etc. And spoilers, I guess. The person I was the most anticipating kind of hearing their side and the things that have hidden was Caro. Oh, I should like do stuff. And basically, well, she did admit to being guilty of something. Her confession didn't really relate to Heather's death, so the victim's death, while all the other confessions were more like directly correlated to the murder. Basically, she only admitted to like stalking her friends, which is bad, but she didn't confess to anything that was like condemning her when it comes to the murder. And the only thing she did in her confession, pointing fingers at other people, which is very suspicious. So, Caro, I'm onto you. I mean, from the beginning I was kind of suspicious of her because she was like too good to be true. But it's not like surprising. I mean, like every single person isn't really what they seem to be, like they all have their little secrets. But obviously I could be completely wrong, and I'm kind of hoping that I am, because then it wouldn't be surprising. So yeah, I'll update you when I finish it. Okay, I just finished it. It's after midnight. Yeah, I don't know. I have to sleep on it. I don't know, because I heard so many good things about this book, I guess I expected more of a twist, but after the twist there was another twist. I don't know, yeah. It was entertaining. Okay, I'll update you in the morning with the final rating. Hi, I am getting ready because I'm meeting my friend at it's not a coffee shop. It's called Etter Vegan Bakery, but I'm not sure if it's a bakery. I mean, it has mostly like cakes, stuff like that. Is it a pastry shop? Confectionery store? Can someone tell me what's the proper name? But yeah, they have Halloween themed cakes and I saw it on Instagram and they really went all out. They look amazing. If I have enough courage, I will film in there. If not, I will just post like a little story where they showed everything they made. But yeah, this is an update to tell you how I felt about In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. So, first things first, I do feel like I enjoyed the second half less than the first half. Because at first the melodrama was entertaining, but the further I got, the more over-the-top ridiculous it was, and I just found myself rolling my eyes a lot. The big reveal I didn't like, but I did like the final kind of twist on the last few pages. It's not that it was shocking, kind of the opposite. Because it didn't come out of the left field, it kind of made me go, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I felt like the author planted enough seeds, like left enough hints for this to make sense, and I liked it. So yeah, the big reveal I thought was a bit unoriginal. Another thing, let's talk about the main character a little bit. She's an overachiever with an inferiority complex, for sure. So I did talk about that she was unlikable, but the thing that bothered me was how supposedly plain she was, and like everyone forgot she was in the room. There were a lot of instances like that. And then when she starts college, I don't think this is a spoiler, this happens like pretty early on, like 2 of the like most popular guys fall for her. I'm just like, where did that come from? If she's so bland and like overlooked, that doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, it kind of does in one. Okay, this is spoiler, yeah. Never mind. Also, the victim, Heather, I feel like we didn't learn anything about her. Like, she was in the flashbacks, but she barely said anything, did anything. I don't know, it couldn't feel bad about Heather because I felt like I didn't know her at all. So, yeah. Some of the characters were definitely a bit stereotypical, but yeah, like I said, there was quite a big cast of characters, so not sure if that was the right move for a debut novel. I liked the pacing. I thought it was fast, but not too fast. It wasn't terrible. I still had a decently good time with it. Was it the height of literature? No. But, you know, it was quite fun. I didn't love the writing style there. Oh my god, that was a phrase. I don't remember now what it was exactly. Something about a person wanting another character to make radical decisions, and that phrase exactly was in the book at least 5 times, word by word. I was like, can we just find another phrase to describe that? So, I think I'm kind of torn between 3-star and 3.5 stars. I think I'm leaning more towards 3 stars, but I will update you when I wrap this whole vlog up at the end to tell you what's my final rating, but I think it's going to be a 3-star. I think I'm going to watch a Halloween movie tonight or tomorrow, probably tonight, because I actually have never watched The Nightmare Before Christmas or Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm not quite sure if it's more of a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie, but I'm going to watch it on Halloween or the day before Halloween and find out. Oh, my TBR. So, the 2 things I would like to finish before the end of this readathon are Whispered by Iain Reid, and I would like to actually read Tender as the Flesh. I don't remember the author, but I wanted to read it while I was doing my 24-hour readathon, but I didn't get to it. So, I think I might start it at the coffee shop. I'm also reading Cursed Bunny, which is a collection of short stories by Bazterrica, and it is... I think on Goodreads it says it's a genre-defying collection because it does contain a lot of different genres. Magical realism, science fiction, but also horror. So I'm about 40% into it, but if I finish it during this readathon, I'm going to include it here. Okay. Okay, I'm back, and I wanted to update you because I did read the first 3 chapters of Tender as the Flesh, and so far I like the idea. I'm not sure if I love the execution. The first chapter especially, because it's a world, I'm not sure if I told you, it's a world where animal meat had this virus, so humans couldn't eat the meat of animals anymore. So now, there are these farms where people are being bred, I don't know, and yeah, cannibalism is a thing. I do follow a guy who works at this kind of farm. The first chapter was rough because it's just a huge info dump because you need to get to know the world, and I don't think it was done in a very natural way. Also, I'm not loving the writing style, but it could be the translation. But yeah, I'm going to continue and we'll see. So it is 7 p.m. on Monday. It is Halloween officially. I did not manage to finish Tender as the Flesh last night, so I finished it after work and I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I anticipated. So on Goodreads there were a lot of reviews that mentioned how they didn't believe the world that was introduced in this book. Like they couldn't buy into the world view. I think that was verbatim what was said in one of the reviews. And to a certain degree I agree, because I personally do not think that an event where like animal meat became poisonous to humans, I can't imagine just like whole governments, whole countries being like, yep, cannibalism is like legal now. I don't see that happening, but I'm also not saying that humans are not capable of it, because humans can be extremely cruel. But the thing is, to me, I thought this kind of thing would be more of a like an underground activity. So like it would happen, but just not on the scale that's kind of described in this book. But the further I got, the more I've decided to kind of lean into the premise and kind of see what the author has to say. So basically I've decided to suspend my disbelief because I thought that the story that was being told was an important one. And ever since then I started enjoying the book more. And overall I think while this book had some technical issues, like I mentioned at the beginning, I didn't love the writing style, although I did think that the beginning was kind of the worst part. I think thematically this book was very interesting, and the horror of it really worked for me. Yeah, it was gruesome, it was stomach turning, it was just very unsettling. So I do feel the horror worked. I do like, as I'm reading more and more horror, I'm finding out that I definitely like horror that has a lot of social commentary. I think it's called social horror. And one last thing, I remember my friend Marta, after I posted my 24-hour readathon, I mentioned during that video that I've decided not to read Tender is the Flesh during that readathon, because at that time I was still about halfway through Eating Animals, and I've said something along the lines of that I think I will find it easier to praise or criticize this book after I finished Eating Animals, and to a certain degree I stand by that statement. Yep, I said that because I was like, oh, this book is going to be like commentary on animal farming, like industrial farming. And my friend Marta to that said that contrary to popular belief, this book is more about society, like humanity, and what humans are capable of, rather than like farming industry. I hope I haven't misquoted her, but... And like, I agree, but I think it's about both of those things, like both of those things can be true at the same time. And while I do think this book definitely comments on humanity and cruelty of human beings, I do think this book definitely talks about eating animals. Like there are so many scenes I think in the book, in Tender is the Flesh, those places were called processing plants. There were so many scenes there that I've just read before in Eating Animals. Like there were some sentences, some descriptions that felt like they were lifted almost verbatim from Eating Animals. And surprisingly, like I found Eating Animals to be more horrifying. Like some of the things that Jonathan Safran Foer described that he have seen on like those kind of, you know, slaughterhouses, animal farms. Some of the things he described were more horrifying, more gruesome than what was described in Tender is the Flesh. And obviously there's another layer of me like knowing that what is described in Eating Animals is real, is not fiction, so like it leaves more of an impression. But genuinely, there were some scenes in Eating Animals that were more gruesome than what was described in Tender is the Flesh. So yeah. Anyway, humans suck, and that's my takeaway. Okay, let's see how I'm doing with the prompts, challenges for this readathon. Okay, 1. Let a coin toss decide your first read. Done that. Read a book with a monster in it or a monster on the cover. Okay, we're gonna go with Tender is the Flesh, where society is the monster. You know, it's cheating, but whatever. Listen to a spooky audiobook or read a horror graphic novel / manga. Oh, every single book I've read through, like, listening into an audiobook. And the last one is read a book in the dark or at night. I'm a bit confused with this one because I'm not sure if it's like reading the whole book at night in the dark, or just if I read like a chunk of it. For example, listening to it in the dark, does that count? Hopefully it does, because I don't think I'm going to listen the whole of We Spread by Iain Reid in the dark. But yeah, that's my last book. I still have, well, less than 5 hours, 4.5 hours left. And the audiobook is 5 hours long, so yes, I can technically do it, but I am like reaching my burnout stage. I just really wish I had a physical book with me, because of both of the books I've read, I've mostly listened to them on audiobook, and I just kind of want to read something physically, so I'm a bit over it. But I'll try. I'll start with Spread. Okay, so very briefly what I've heard about We Spread, what it's about. So I think it's about an older protagonist. I don't know if older means she's like in her 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't know what that means. But a person that she was with died, and he was an artist, and she goes to like a nursing home or something like that. So I'm guessing she's not in her 30s, but you know, who knows. She goes to a nursing home so she can be taken care of, and weird things start happening. I know it like thematically talks about memory and getting older, and I've heard it's very ambiguous. Some people said it's too ambiguous, much more so than I'm thinking of ending things. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably update you tomorrow, because every single time I say I'm going to update you when I finish the book, and I finish it at like midnight, 1 a.m. or something like that. I just never feel like updating. Like I either don't have any makeup on, so I'm like, I don't want to do it, or I'm confused and I just say, oh, I have to sleep on it. So there's no point. I'm going to update you tomorrow whether I finished We Spread or not, and yeah, finish up the vlog. I have no idea when this is going to go up, because I haven't even started editing this. I might upload it like 2 weeks from now when like no one cares about Halloween anymore, but we'll see. So I finished We Spread by Iain Reid, and he did not let me down. It's a 5-star. It's one of my favorite books of the year, if not my favorite. I'm not quite sure. I need some time to figure that out. But yeah, this book at times even made me emotional. I didn't fully cry, but I did get misty-eyed a few times. So I did mostly get the synopsis correctly. So Penny, the main character, I think she's in her 80s or 90s, 80s I think, and she did have a partner who was an artist who passed away, and she actually also was an artist. And yeah, at some point she's not doing so well on her own. She has an accident, she falls, and it is decided that she's going to go to this care facility. But it's kind of special because overall, including her, there are only 4 residents there. So it's a very small facility, and Penny at some point starts feeling that things are not as they seem to be, and this is all I'm going to say, because the less I say the better. This is going to be a very short review because, one, I do not know how to talk about books that I really loved. I find it easier to criticize books than tell people what I liked about them, which is a problem, but it is what it is. And two, I just don't want to say too much, and unfortunately a lot of the things that were discussed in this book, I feel like if I talked about them, they would be spoilers. So what I wouldn't consider a spoiler is that I can tell you that this book obviously explores aging, but in such a beautiful way. It talks about how we view elderly, so it really explores the fear of aging. The horror isn't graphic or anything like this, it's more like psychological horror. I think the genre is described as philosophical suspense, which is interesting. And yeah, it explores those kind of fears, how we can lose our memories when we age, but not only that, how we can lose our passion for things and therefore slowly kind of lose who we are as a person. And that's, oof, yeah, that's hard to read about. The beginning of the book was the most emotional for me, but yeah, it does talk about what it means to be human. Interestingly, I think it also talks about productivity and, I mean, art too, and what we leave kind of in the world after we pass away. Yeah, just a lot of interesting topics. They're not, and I feel like that's why some people might not like it, because they're not extremely well explored. I mean, they are explored, but what I'm saying is the prose is very sparse, which personally I feel like really works well for this type of horror, because there's so much that's being left unsaid and it plays into this feeling of uncertainty. But yeah, some people might not like that, might think it's too ambiguous, there's too much left unsaid, but that was not a problem for me. I like when things are up to like a person's interpretation, and I feel like there were enough clues, there was enough said in the book for you to kind of draw your own conclusions. Also, one last thing, I feel like the writing style was really beautiful. I liked the writing style in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which I think was his debut novel. Then he wrote Foe, which I haven't read, so this is his third novel, and personally, I can see an improvement. I really like the prose here. So this is all I'm going to say, and I'm going to wrap up this vlog. I read 3 things. I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm not a fast reader, so that's nice. I ended up giving In My Dreams I Hold the Knife 3 star, not a 3.5 star. I realized it's more of a 3 star after I finished Tender as a Flesh, which I give 4 stars to, and I kind of realized I feel like I like Tender is the Flesh a lot more than In My Dreams I Hold Knife, so it didn't make sense to me that there would be just like a half a star difference between them, so I was like, okay, it's a 3 star. So yeah, then we have Tender is the Flesh, which I gave 4 stars, and I'm very pleased to say that we finally have a 5 star. I feel like it's been a while since I gave a book full 5 stars, so this is very exciting. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!